right, welcome back to our Haunted Ozarks special. Another haunted spot, the Gillioz Theater downtown. As you said, theaters tend to invite these things in.
I think it's the drama. This absorbs all those ghost stories,
Well, and they're big, and they're vast, and they're dark.
And lots of traffic to them, lots of people.
Oh, yeah.
And if you ever walk through a theater when it's dark, you feel things.
You think about it, that light you put on the center of the stage is called the ghost light.
That's it. That's it exactly. All right. I talked to a man in charge about the history of the theater and what he and others have seen through the years. Take a look. I'm inside the Gillioz Theater. Now, every theater everywhere is haunted. At least that's what a lot of people who work in theaters say. But I've got a guy here, he knows the Gillioz inside and out, and we're going to ask him about the haunts of the Gillioz. Jeff Steele. Jeff,
welcome back.
Boo. Okay, in your experience or your knowledge, what is the Gillioz like as far as haunts are concerned?
It's a historic room, so it has a lot of memories that reside therein, and in traditional theater lore, you would say that there are spirits that inhabit the space.
Now, of course, that's part of the tradition of theater. I mean, right behind us, you have something called the ghost light. Explain that, first of all.
Well, the ghost light is a theatrical tradition that goes back to Shakespeare's time, and the idea is that you never place the theater in total darkness as a sign of respect for the spirits that inhabit the space. If you do leave it in darkness, then mischief can ensue. So it preserves the integrity and safety of your performance if you show respect to the spirit.
Okay, but even though you show respect for the spirit, there are still people who say things go on here in the theater. We're going to talk about one of them in specific in just a little bit, but one that I wasn't aware of is you got a little kid running around this balcony every now and then.
There are always stories. We're 92 years old now, so stories come and go. There are stories of a 10 to 12-year-old boy dressed in mid-30s attire, think Newsy, a newspaper boy from that period, and he plays in the balcony space. Seems to be a happy youngster.
Okay, has anyone seen this? I mean, tales of it are one thing. Has anyone said, yep, I put eyeballs on that?
I had never talked to someone live until about 2 months ago, and we were doing volunteer training, and an individual that volunteers with us that came here in the 70s as a young person said that she had, in fact, with her own eyes, witnessed the young man at play.
So just kind of playing around on the balcony, jumping, leaping, that sort of thing?
Yeah, just jumping around.
Having fun.
Having fun. Running in circles, typical 10-year-old boy stuff.
All right, what about you?
I've never seen him.
You've never seen him. Have you ever seen anything in the theater, though, that made you go, what was that?
Sure, there are things that come up from time to time. The shadows can sometimes have some life to them, but I'm something of a skeptic.
Yeah. Okay, that says it all right there. It's like if it doesn't poke you in the chest,
that's
then
right.
It's okay. All right. There is one, though, and this is part of the history of the Gillioz. It's not just oh, there's a kid, or oh, there's this. This is part of the history. Tell me about this.
Sure. So when someone asks if the theater's haunted, we say it depends on who you ask. Some of my staff would say profoundly, yes, the theater's haunted. For me, being a skeptic, I'm not so certain. That said, no one can deny the history of Martin Kirshner. Martin Kirshner was a projectionist here. He came in the opening, 1926, and in New Year's Eve, 1962, at the age of 62, Martin Kirshner, between 11:50 and midnight, passed of a massive heart attack in the projection booth at his post where he had worked for 36 years. So anything that's unexplained to our staff is attributed to Martin. So you'll hear staff come in and say, I'm coming in, Martin. Regardless of what you believe, we're confident if there is someone here or something here, it's happy because we're in the memory making business and it seems to all be good.
And with Martin, you actually have a timeline. You know when things happen. Explain that a little bit.
Sure. Well, again, it was New Year's Eve, so they were going to show a midnight showing. At 11:50, the manager here had gone in and talked to him. We'd already shown a full day of activity prior to that, but because of the holiday, they were flipping to do a midnight show. He went in and talked to Martin to make sure that he had everything ready to start the reel at midnight, returned to his office. When the movie didn't start, the audience began to stomp their feet to say, it's time to go, it's time to go. The manager heard the stomping, came up, knew immediately that something was wrong. Again, Martin had been here 36 years. years. He was a professional, proficient in his job and watching time. So when it didn't happen, the manager went into the projection booth and found him on the floor from a coronary. Interestingly, projectionists at that time were union, so he couldn't start the film. He had to call the union and get a projectionist from the neighboring Fox to come down here and start the film because he wasn't going to break union rules.
That's kind of pretty heavy-duty, show must go on kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Now, the things that people may see or believe that they see here, benevolent spirits, or have they been mischievous?
No, they all seem to be really benevolent. It's the room. I think historic rooms have a vibe to them, using the hippie vernacular, so I think there's a vibe, and I think it's a good vibe.
All right. What are you going to do if you see one evening here at the Gillioz?
I'll hopefully be pleasantly surprised.
There you go. The Gillioz, pleasantly surprised, seeing spirits for 100 years.
We're pushing it.
There you are.